All right, since it's the top of the hour, we are going to get started. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to Nights and Weekends Aren't for Data Fixes, a better way for Oracle data loading. I am Stephanie, and I will be moderating today's quickfire session. So, I'd just like to go over a couple things real quick before passing it off to our hosts today, Brent Weiss and Andrew Gooch. So, everyone will receive today's recording by the end of the week. So, just please keep a lookout for that. And then, after Brent and Andrew present, we will begin a Q&A portion. So during the session, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box down below or in the chat, and we will only answer them during the Q&A part just to allow everyone to hear the entirety of the presentation and then to hop off at the end if needed. But that's like pretty much it. So Brent, would you like to take it away?
Great. Thanks, Stephanie. Welcome, everybody, to the Nights and Weekends. We are here today to talk a little bit about our tool. So my name is Brent Wise. I'm actually an account manager here at More4Apps. And what I want to do today is talk to you a little bit about how the More4Apps tool works, give you a quick example. And like Stephanie said, we're going to try and get some data from you as to what kind of tools you're using and things like that. So I want to start off with, data is growing exponentially. I think we can all agree that ERPs are complex and managing that data is difficult, right? Trying to get data in and out of the system. Some of the tools are a little rigid and not quite as easy to use. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about our tool. So Andrew, you could go to the next slide, please. Thanks. So first poll question I have for you is, what data loading tool are you currently using? Obviously, there's manual data entry. We have FBDI and ADFDI, which are associated with cloud. You have data load and Oracle Web ADI, which is associated with EBS. VBCS is another popular one.
I'll give like another few seconds.
Yeah, looks like we're all over. Okay.
Yeah, because people could use more than one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's share the results. Okay, there you go. It
All
looks like
right.
manual and data load and more for apps.
Oh, great. Perfect. Appreciate
Okay.
that. So we'll go to the next slide here.
We want to look at the challenges.
Sure.
There
Can
you
you
go.
guys bring that up? Is there a
So what are
next
your
slide, Andrew?
biggest, no, can you see what are your biggest data
Uh,
entry challenges?
I don't see that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll give it a few
I'll
more
let you do it.
seconds. Yeah, and I'll read it out to you. No big
Okay.
deal. These poll questions part, it can be
Some of them
finicky.
come through, some of them aren't.
Yeah. All right, I'll end it and I'll share the results. So it looks like the top is the loading process is too long, data accuracy and validation issues, but we're honestly all over the place. IT reliance, error reconciliation, inflexible layouts, usability is difficult. Then attachments, patching, yeah, all over the place, honestly, Brent. Yeah.
That's perfect because that's exactly what we do. So we'll go ahead and help with that.
Ooh.
All right. So in an ideal world, based on what you guys just gave back as data, you're looking for something that's user friendly and adaptable, right? We want something that's streamlined. We want the process to be easy. You probably want something that has upfront validation. I'm sure validation's a big factor for you, whether you're on EBS or cloud. You want reusable templates, something that easy to get to, something that you can process real quick, and then you want something that's secure and supported, right? So with our More4Apps tool, we actually offer a lot of these things. So we allow you to download data in real time, so you can pull things straight from Oracle. We allow you to upload with attachments. We allow you to validate data instantly. This is a big key factor. I know a lot of people get tripped up with their data isn't instantly validated. And then once that happens, you want to be able to identify and correct the errors. This is another challenge for you, whether you're getting a PDF back or you've got to unpack everything you did to find the errors and then package it all back up. You want to be able to easily identify and correct those errors. And then we also offer you customize your layouts or configure your layout so you can match your sheet to exactly what your data is. I know, again, a lot of the Oracle tools, whether it's EBS or cloud, are very rigid, and you're not allowed to move things around or make changes. So I think at this point, it's probably going to be best for me to show you exactly how this tool works. So I have a quick demo that I'd like to walk through with you. It takes a couple minutes, and this is just going to give you a taste of what our tool can do. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, all good.
Okay, great. All right, so for today's purposes, we are going to create new data en masse, okay? For this example, we're going to use suppliers. Again, our tool, we offer a breadth and scope of all kinds of modules, whether it's cloud or EBS. But for this one, we're going to go ahead and do suppliers, and this will translate to other areas that you're working on as well. So we're going to accept this challenge, and we're going to get a task here. You've been tasked with putting 25 new suppliers into Oracle, right? Maybe this came to you in an email, spreadsheet, whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and copy and paste this into our tool. So this gets copied over. And this is our tool. For those of you that have never seen our tool, I'll give you a quick little example of what's going on here. So we offer single sign-on. So this is your login over here. We have your templates. We have data forms. We have some formatting. Again, there's that download button where I was talking about you can download in real time. We have validate, upload. You can schedule processing. We have settings and diagnostics. And then we have the help button over here. The help button, this is where you can find your user guides or best practices, things of that nature. So if you get stuck, you have a help button. So first thing I want to show you is we allow you to remove columns. So if these columns aren't going to be used by you, you can go ahead and eliminate them right off the bat. You're already paring down your sheet and customizing it, right? Secondly, let's say you want to move columns around. You can do that with our tool as well. You could flip things around so that your data matches exactly how you've got the data sent to you, whether it was in again, an email or a spreadsheet. You can match that data set and then paste it right in here. So remember when I just copied all of that? What I'm going to do now is paste that all in here. And now what we're going to do is hit upload. So you can upload the selected ones or you can upload all. For this purpose, we're doing all of them. So this is what I really want to key in here is we offer you kind of a stoplight type of scenario here where you can see what's been accepted and what hasn't. You're either going to get a green, which is accepted, yellow, which will be pending, or red, which is an error. So right off the bat, you can see we tell you exactly what the error is, where it's at. So you can see right here, you have an error with the business relation. You've maybe fat fingered or said something wrong here and said prospect. You also get a message up top here that tells you exactly what the problem is. So we're going to go ahead and fix this error. By the way, everything that's in green has already gone through. You don't have to send that back in, but if you do upload that, it's not going to duplicate. So we're going to fix this error real quick. And again, Excel properties here, you can just drop down. And now we're going to do upload. And last time we uploaded all of it. We're just going to do that selected line. Again, if you did all of them again, no problem. It's not going to duplicate, but you get them all accepted. That's as simple as it is right there. So you've uploaded 25 new suppliers into Oracle. Pretty simple, right? Now, what I want to do is show you the download feature of our tool. So again, we're going to be doing suppliers. This time, we're going to be pulling the data down from Oracle, and we're going to be making changes to the payment terms. So again, somebody sent you an email, said, hey, can you get these 25 suppliers payment terms changed? Yes, we could do that. So we're going to go ahead and copy this, and we're going to bring it into our sheet again and paste it in. So what we're doing is going to hit the download button this time instead of the upload, and we're going to be pulling real-time data right from Oracle. And right there, it populates all of your information for you, okay? What we needed to do is change the payment terms. So let's make that change to, I don't know if I need net 30 or net 60. Well, the great part about this is we have this data form here. So what you can do is click on the data form. It'll go in and read your Oracle, and it'll tell you, here are your payment terms that are offered. You have end of month, hold, net 30, net 45. Let's say for ours, we want to do net 30 on all of these. So you go ahead and select that from your data form. And then what you do is, again, Excel functionality. We're going to drag and drop that net 30 all the way down across all of these. It's going to change them all to net 30. And now we're going to upload that back in. And you have now changed the payment terms on all 25 of these suppliers. Pretty simple, right? So again, I talked about some of those differentiators and how we differ from other tools that you're using, whether it's data load, FBDI. For those of you, I know we got a mixed bag here. We've got people that are on EBS. We've got people that are on cloud. We have people that are transitioning to the cloud. That's great. We offer products in both of those. And I think what we're going to do is, Gooch, I want you to go ahead and talk a little bit about how we differentiate from, some of those tools that you're going to see in Oracle.
Thank you, Brent. That was good to see. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew. I'm one of the sort of technical guys and more for apps, just to introduce myself. And I just wanted to talk about those points. So we just watched Brent there, and we got a pretty good idea of how simple the data loading can be. And on that earlier slide, he did list out these key differentiators that we like to highlight. And these are the reasons that we think more for apps gets you closer to that ideal world. And I just wanted to go down each of them one by one and just sort of explain, why we think that you're going to get tangible benefits from each of them. For those of you who are using any other tools like Dayload or FBDI or anything like that, just maybe try and keep in the back of your mind those processes that you're using there, because when you sort of talk about each of these points, hopefully they'll ring some bells and you'll sort of really understand, where these are really going to drive productivity for you guys. So the first one, it's the one that we just saw in that last example, and it's possibly an area that we don't emphasize enough really at More for Apps, this download functionality. It's a really, really big one. Essentially, it's the ability to download data from Oracle directly into the spreadsheet in the format that you need to make use of it. And all of our tools have this feature. It's a really big driver of productivity. The most obvious advantage it's going to give you is the ability to run in data updates easily. Because with data maintenance, the task of physically changing the data in the spreadsheet is really only part of the battle. Getting that data in and into the format that you need to work with it is a major challenge. If you're using FBDI or ADFDI or anything like that, you've got a problem. Where's your data coming from? You're going to need to build data extracts or BI reports or things like that to get at it. And we've taken away the need for any of that. So you have access to your Oracle data at any time. You can download it, update it, and upload it back. It's a closed loop and it's entirely supported within the spreadsheet. And that download feature is adaptive, so you can decide what data you want on the fly by choosing different download filters when you click the button. In the earlier example, Brent had, I think it was the supplier name, but you could download by terms, things like that. So you can bring down a section of the data that you want to change quite comfortably based on what your work process is for the day. It's a massive one. FBDI doesn't do it. ADFDI is pretty patchy. There are some downloads, but where it does exist, it tends to spawn a new spreadsheet, and it's quite hard to manage. Now, this one probably seems pretty obvious. You can upload your data, but the point is really that you can do it easily. Simple button click, and that's it. Right in the spreadsheet. So one of the main complaints about FBDI, for example, is how complicated that is to operate. Back-end tasks that you need to do to push the spreadsheet data into Oracle, they're a huge problem and a bit of disruption. And we've tried to make things as simple as they need to be, really. Just click the button. Nothing to do outside the spreadsheet, no back-end process, no reliance on IT to push any loads through for you. And at the same time, you can manage attachments. You can load your attachments with your initial data load after you've done that, or download existing records and add the attachments you need at any time. And it's easy to do. You just select your files from your folders like you would if you're opening a file in a file chooser, and then just click the upload button. FBDI doesn't do this at all, and ADFDI, well, it really kind of makes you run through hoops where there is some support for that. It's not heavily supported, but there are a couple of instances, and you have to set URLs and do some quite difficult tasks to get it ready. Now, this one is it's really a big one about giving you confidence in your data. And this is sort of live validation. This is a must, really, if you want to avoid those cycles of rework, fitting and then refitting your data to make it how Oracle wants it to be. All of our tools have built-in data validation that runs before and in parallel with your load. So nothing bad hits Oracle. FPDI doesn't do it. At FDI, some of the time, some of the fields. If you can get your data live validated, you're going to have a whole lot less work reconciling errors. You're going to be a lot more independent from your IT because those errors land in front of you before they get anywhere near Oracle. And I think Brent went over this slide pretty well. I've got a little bit of a commentary on this, but I think he highlighted the main points. Everything's laid out clearly at the end of the load, so you know exactly what's happened. Green rows were loaded, red ones hit a snag, but you get to see immediately what the problem was, right? The offending data cell is highlighted there in red, and there's a message in plain English to tell you what went wrong. So you just simply correct the mistake, reload the data. And he's shown you already, we make those corrections easier. If you like, you can use those data entry forms and bring down things from Oracle lists of values and so on. Much simpler process than something like FPDI. No need to go look in at external reports and getting IT involved at all, really. And this last one, it really comes down to the shape of your data. If you ask yourself where your data is coming from. So if you're externally preparing it in any sort of form of source file or extractor report, like actually the one that he had with the supplier onboarding, you need to get that data into your spreadsheet as painlessly as possible. And we've tried to make that as easy as we can. You get complete control of how your layout of your spreadsheet columns can be. Obviously, add, move, reorder your columns. And it makes it so that you can match your source format exactly in your spreadsheet. So transferring the data in is easy, just one step, copy and paste. At FDI and FBDI, that's a lot harder. Column layouts there are fixed. So getting your data in can be quite time consuming. They're also what I call noisy. It's just too many columns, really. Most of them you don't need. So it's quite difficult to navigate the sheet and identify the key columns that you're actually trying to work with. Obviously, we take that hassle away. We let you cut out the columns you don't use. And so you end up with a much more manageable and readable worksheet. And also, you can use that feature to build layouts to match your task. If you remember that last scenario that Brent had there where he was doing the payment terms, he's able to create a sheet that's just specifically designed to make that task of updating the payment terms really easy without anything distracting. So you get, it's much easier to get here around what you're trying to do. And look, there's a lot of other features and advantages that we could spend a lot of time telling you about. I think these 5 are the key ones, though. They really deliver you those tangible benefits as opposed to, some of the other processes that you might be using up to this time. Because, what we think is that data entry shouldn't be complicated. And the point of what we do here at More for Apps is to make it as simple as possible. So yeah, that's kind of me summarizing up there. I'll pass over back to Brent. He's got a couple of, I guess, sort of success stories that he might be able to talk to. So get you an idea of how those are really delivered for people.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. So again, like I said, whether you're on EBS or cloud or moving from EBS to cloud, we have all these different scenarios to talk about. So, one I want to bring up is interlocks. All right. So this company came to us and said, listen, we've got 8,000 part numbers and we're constantly changing things in there, whether it's changing pricing or changing part numbers or doing things. It was taking them over 2 days and they had 3 people on this. So 3 people working for 2 days to try and get this done. And what was happening was, again, the whole title of this webinar is nights and weekends. Get your nights and weekends back. You don't want to be missing your nights. You don't want to be, missing out on dinner. You don't want to be missing out on your kids' games, things like that. So what we did is we showed them how our tool worked, and they went from 2 days to 43 minutes to do those 8,000 part numbers. I mean, that's just a huge, huge time saver. This was a big one that you know, we saved a lot of time. So the next one, Andrew, if you could, thank you. The next one was, let's see, Kent County Council was moving from EBS to cloud. And what they did is they were getting ready to go live, and they were going through UAT, and FBDI and ADFDI and VBCS failed. And they thought, oh boy, we're going to have a failed implementation. What do you do? They came to us. We showed them our tool, and they were able to save their implementation because our tool actually worked in UAT and passed the UAT test. So again, this was an example of somebody going from EBS to cloud and being able to save their implementation.
Can I just
And
interrupt on that one, Brent?
yeah,
The
go
real
ahead.
you could say they failed. What the FBDI templates did in that instance was more that they failed to convince. And the guys that were running the project there, had to play around and had some test scenarios, and they realized that they couldn't trust their end users to make use of the FBDI, not only the sheets but the process, with any confidence. So I think there's a quote there. I will not. It says down here on the sheet. I will not allow us to go live with those products. They didn't think that they could really have any confidence in their bulk downloading with the tools that their partners were pushing one of them, which was those ones that are listed there.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Andrew, is, at the end of the day, the data is owned by all of you, right? You want your data to be owned by the end users. They're the ones that own the data, and we want them entering the data. We want somebody else entering the data. So again, that's why the tool was created, or our tools were created, so that the end user has control and has the power now to control that data, which actually segues into our last one, which is the Williams company. And they had a pretty heavy reliance on IT. And if you're relying on IT to, one, to get your data done for you, one, you don't want IT to have all your data. Two, they've got other things going on. So now you're in the backlog, and are you waiting a day or two for that report or that data to get entered? You don't want to have a huge reliance on your IT teams. And I'm sure IT teams would love for the end users to be able to enter their own data. So this was a third example of, and I know Williams is on cloud, but this was another example of how our tool benefits end users and benefits the company, and again, eliminates those challenges of relying on IT.
All right. Yeah, I can take this over now. Thank you, Brett and Andrew. So now we have some time for some questions. We'll just go until we basically run out. If you have any questions, you can feel free to add them into the Q&A box or in the chat. I do have a few right now that we'll get started with, but feel free to piggyback off of them. Yeah, we'll go from there. So here we go. So when someone first comes to MorphReps after struggling with FBDI, what are they most frustrated about? I guess what have you heard the most about the frustrations?
Typically what I hear is the frustrations with the FBDIs. It's super clunky, very hard to navigate. Again, going back to the errors, that's the biggest thing we hear is, hey, listen, I've put up this FBDI thing, and there's errors in there, and I get, a PDF back, and I'm not really sure, it points me to some areas, but the point being, you've got to pull everything back down and unpack it to put it back up, where ours validates right away. We tell you exactly where the error is. And that's the number one thing that I hear, is that it's just very hard to use FBDI.
Yeah, I
Is
can I can second that. I've done a few of these webinars, basically similar to what we're doing today with customers driving them, and I always, we talked about those key differentiators earlier, and I think maybe at MorphReps we sometimes emphasize the ones that we think make more sense from our perspective. But that point about the live validation, the pre-validation, is the one that they always want to hit their head on. So we've got to make people aware of that, because I think a lot of people out there, certainly when they're new to cloud, and they don't realize that they have to live with that. They didn't realize there's a better world out there. So that's the point that they always want to make sure that people understands that you can have live validation and have spreadsheet loading in the cloud. And obviously, we do
Yeah, I
it
think
immediately.
another one too is staying in one sheet, right? With FBDI, you've got multiple sheets that you're working with, whereas ours is one sheet. So that makes it very simple.
Okay, cool. I have quite a few more here. Okay. Does the tool support sales order update? Like I would like to download existing orders and update ship to. It's a little okay. It's for the EBS R12. So sales orders for EBS.
Well, I'll have to look into the particular functionality. I haven't, typically, we're aware of our shortcomings within our products, and that's not one that I'm aware of. So we've had the sales order wizard out there for, I don't know how long, I mean, more than 10, possibly 20 years. And there's a lot of time to improve the functionality over there. My belief is that it does do that sort of update.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have to double check,
Yes.
but I'm sure I would have heard if it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, and we'll get back to you, Suresh, about that. So don't worry about that. But it looks like yes. Okay, I use Project Wizard to upload new projects. You mentioned attachments. Can I upload attachments, such as approval documents, scope documents, etc.?
You're talking about the project wizard. So this is EBS, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, there is support for attachments. Within Oracle, there are obviously attachments at various levels. So you can have task attachments, I think, and project attachments. I certainly know they do project and task attachments. It's in there. I haven't used that myself recently. I think with the Project Wizard, when you operate it, you've got a whole bunch of options that you can pull down from the drop down. You can work with task hierarchies. You can work with assignments and assets. So I'm pretty sure attachments is a sheet that you can work with separately. There is obviously a master sheet within projects, but that's a huge wide column matrix. So those templates, I would recommend looking for the attachments in the drop down. It's up on the top of the toolbar.
Mhm.
If we're talking about cloud, which I think we were talking about EBS, but yeah, we also support them within the cloud.
Yes.
Awesome. How quickly can teams get up and running on, I guess, either tool? Yeah.
From my experience, it's fairly quickly. Um, in terms of installing the product is very quick, and then the learning curve is very quick as well. And again, remember I showed before we had that suppliers. I mean, the look and feel of our tool is the same no matter what module you're using, right? You're going to have all those buttons at the top. You're going to have it's just going to have different column headers and different names, but for the most part, the tool is exactly the same no matter which one you're in. Once people get into it, it's Excel functionality, right? And everybody loves Excel and working in Excel. Typically, with new customers that come on board, I usually do 1 or 2 training sessions for 1 hour. Most people get it pretty quickly. I don't think there's a massive learning curve here. We also offer plenty of opportunity to learn about the tool. So whether you're in our community and signing up for our webinars that our solution engineers run every month, having sessions with myself or other people, it's really quickly. This isn't a tool this doesn't require a massive amount of brain power here. I think you can get it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and
Great.
if you want to, if the question was at all related to the installation process, I can answer that briefly. We obviously have two products. So within the EBS world, there's a installation done on the database server and one on the web server. There's just two objects that need to be added to handle the traffic. And the spreadsheet itself, there's no installation on the user PC because it's all contained within the file. The EBS products are VB, so you just have a macro. You just have to enable it. So you just pass the file around to the people who want to use it. That's all you have to do. On the cloud side, there's no installation as such on the server. You have to enable some user roles so that the people have access to the web services behind these. These are all Oracle web services, and we've got some little install wizard that makes that really quick. I think there are some reports you have to put in, and the install wizard handles that for you. On the PC, the cloud product, which is the one that you saw with Brent, operates as an Excel add-in. So those toolbars there that he had, that has to be installed. There's a little install wizard. You can either run yourself on your PC, or there's an option for the IT department to farm it out and operate it centrally for the installation. But that's once per PC.
Great. Okay. How does this solution fit into month-end or high volume processing periods? And do you offer GL journal solutions?
We do.
We do.
I'll let you
On both
expand on that,
sides.
Andrew.
Yeah, well, yeah, we offer GL. GL's it's actually an area that Oracle has a solution for on both sides. They have a web ADI and an ADFDI template, and people they don't really like the way it operates. So we've got that functionality too. I mean, if you're talking about your month-end process, what we are as data entry enablers, right? So our raison d'etre, if you like, is to make the data entry quicker. So all we're going to do once you're up and running and familiar is we're just going to speed you up. So we're going to reduce that bottleneck that you get at your month end. We don't have any magic wand. You still have to do your data entry, but it'll take, fraction of the time.
Yeah. And I think I also want to point out, Andrew, that GL does have attachments too.
Exactly, actually. That's a big driver
It's
of our
key,
business on the
big
cloud
driver.
side nowadays too. Yeah.
Yes.
Great. I only have a couple more. So if someone is planning to move to Fusion Cloud in the next year or so, is now actually a good time to adopt more for apps, or should we wait until after migrating?
The earlier, the better. That's kind of one of the best use cases we have is when somebody's moving from EBS to cloud. You're transitioning a lot of data, right? And you don't want to be moving bad data over. So let's get that data cleaned and move it over and get it into the cloud. So the sooner the better on that. That's kind of, if I, that's kind of one of the number one things I get is a lot of people that have, hey, we just got on cloud. Can you show us your cloud solution? And I show it to them. They're like, man, I wish we'd had this back then when we were going through the EBS. So I hear that a lot. Like, listen, I wish I had implemented this when we were making that transition. It would have made this a lot easier and a lot cleaner.
Yeah, and you've also, when you're doing that migration process, your implementation partner will obviously be in charge of the I guess the transferal of the data from one system to the other, but you are going to be responsible as an organization for your data. They're not going to probably put their hands up and help you clean that unless you ask them to. So that's something that as an organization you need to keep top of mind. We've got master data tools like suppliers and customers and employees and so on. That data that you're moving, if it's probably the amount of data they actually need on the other side in terms of valid active data is probably a tiny fraction of what's sitting in your master tables. So you can really reduce your headaches if you're only sending over your active suppliers or your customers that have been recently invoiced. I really, really recommend that you at least take a look at your data, and we've obviously got the tools on the EBS side that can really, really make that job of transferring the data across much less painful.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And one last question. Can this handle large volume or complex data uploads?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, Andrew, I'll let you expand on it, but this is Excel. So I think what is the limit for Excel, Andrew? Something around 1 million.
Oh, yes,
I would
it's more than that.
suggest
I think it's
that,
32 million.
but yes, it's Excel functionality. So, I mean, it'll handle that. It's probably better to batch it out. But that's the functionality. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
the short and sweet is yes, but I wouldn't recommend doing 1 million.
there's no real functional limit within Excel in terms of
Right.
number of rows, but we're humans, so we don't need 32 million lines of transactional data in
Yeah.
front of us.
Yeah.
That's where Brent says, yeah, maybe batch it. If you've got 3 or 4 people in your team, maybe break that down into more manageable chunks. But there isn't a limit, and in terms of the breadth of support, I mean, some of our products have more than 1,000 columns that you can do it all at once if you want to. This is where the flexibility of the product comes in because you can work out if you were to update 32 million rows, you can do it, right? But I don't know if you want to be updating 32 million rows where you've got 1,000 columns in there. So you can subset your sets and build a packed down sheet that just has the like we saw with the payment detail example, just has the columns you need, and then you just run those 32 million updates. I wouldn't recommend millions because Excel itself is flaky at a certain point. Um, up to 100, 150,000, I would have absolutely no qualms about doing. Once you start getting over that, and if it's a regular process, then maybe there is a case then to look at alternatives. But Excel is the sort of fits every hole kind of solution, and I think it's pretty good for 99% of your business scenarios.
Yeah, agreed.
I actually do have one more, and then we
Okay.
can wrap it up. So, can more apps support custom validation?
I'm not really
We
Thoughts
sure.
on that,
can.
Ian?
So it depends if you're talking about custom validation that you have within your system. So there's I don't know if this is an EBS question or a cloud question. More likely to be EBS, I would guess, because you can have form
EBS,
customizations.
correct. It is
Yeah, and
EBS.
those form customizations are probably, well, they're going to be written into the forms, right? And when you're using the tools, you don't operate those forms. So there is an opportunity, well, there is a task that you need to do. If you've got something that translates some data based on some other values, we can support that, but there is a step. Most of our products have a thing called an extension package. It's a little PLSQL. It's empty when you buy the product, and you can put in your logic in there to change the validation process for a particular record so that you can, in a way, duplicate that form logic. I was going to say another point there. Um, Gone from my head at the moment. Maybe it'll come back to me when I read the recording. Perhaps I'll put that answer in the post notes.
Yeah, we'll have Andrew reach out to you too about that then.
Yeah, if you
Perfect.
had a specific example on that, I think that would be better.
Yeah, we'll let Andrew hit you up. All right. Well, thank you, Brett and Andrew. And I just want to thank everyone else for joining. And just remind you that you will receive the recording by the end of the week. And we also do have some more sessions coming up, both virtual and in person. So hope to see you there at either one or both. So please keep a lookout for that as well. Brett and Andrew, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I would because I've just remembered the other thing I wanted to
There you
say
go.
about
Yeah.
customizations. It was going back to what do we define as a customization? Because a lot of these Oracle forms have these flex fields within them, and if you're thinking about that sort of stuff as a customization, it is when you've got your own data collection off each record. But that is Oracle standard functionality, and those are supported out of the box from us. So if you've got context sensitive flex fields, what is the new one called? Extensible flex fields, things like that. We support those. So the things I was talking about was more where you've got something embedded into the code of your form, which we do support, certainly on the EBS side.
Now, I think at the end of the day, Steph, to wrap this up, again, data is complex, and we're in a data-driven world, right? And so the cleaner you can keep your data, and the easier you can work with your data, the easier it's going to be on your life. It's gonna help the company. It's going to help you personally. So, if you're struggling with those tools that we talked about that Oracle has out of the box, highly suggest taking a look at this.
Yeah, and also we're all kind of hearing those two letters AI a lot at the
Yeah.
moment. And AI is, a really great adaptive tool, but it does require a solid foundation of data. And if it's pulling out of any data that you have in Oracle, you've still got to make sure that data in Oracle is right. So if you have these great plans to, step up with AI functionality, we like to think about ourselves as a company that gets you AI ready. So you can depend on what's sitting in your master data table, your transactional history, and then AI can scrape, the real correct interpretations out of that.
Yep. Great point, Andrew.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody. And thank you, Andrew.